Hey guys, it's Jenna. So today I thought I would do a very casual video. As you can see, I'm sitting on my back porch in my backyard. The weather has just been super hot, super muggy. If you don't know, I live in Central Florida, and it has been raining, like monsooning, every single day from about like 3-ish to about 7-ish at night. So right now it's 6 o'clock on a Sunday evening. It rained earlier today. You can just feel the humidity, so my skin is like super moist right now because the water in the air is just so potent. So anyway, side note, I am in my backyard, sort of on my porch, and I thought I would do a tag video, a casual tag, because I did not get to sit down and formally film a video today, as it is Father's Day. So I thought I would do the 5 quotes tag, and I was tagged by Katie over at Life Between Words months ago, I think. So Katie, I'm sorry for the delay, but I do really appreciate you tagging me. I always love getting tagged. It just makes me feel so special. So let's just get on with this tag. So the 5 quotes tag asks you to share your 5 favorite bookish quotes. And to be honest, I don't really keep track of my favorite quotes from books. I don't really write too many notes when I'm reading, and it's very rare that I actually sit down and highlight a particular quote or underline a particular quote, but I always am able to go back to it somehow, just because it stands out to me. I usually remember books and how the way they make me feel as a whole, rather than how individual quotes make me feel, if that makes any sense at all. So what I did is I went back through my Goodreads page to all of the quotes that I have officially liked on Goodreads in the past, and I just wanted to share my favorites with you from that particular list. So the first one that I would like to share with you is from A Monster Calls by Patrick Ness, and this is the monster talking to Connor, who is the protagonist in the story. And the monster says, "You do not write your life with words, you write it with actions. What you think is not important, it is only important what you do." So that just really stands out to me. It's also similar to a quote that I've heard before. Sorry, I'm going to put this down a little bit because my hand is really hurting. It's similar to a quote I've heard before, that what you think about your friends is not important. The only thing that's important is what you do about it. So you could have all these thoughts in your head, all these wonderful ideas and wonderful feelings toward people or anybody or anything, but it's really only important what you do about those feelings and what you do about those thoughts. So I always find that highly motivating and encouraging. The next quote that I would like to share with you is from The Lord of the Rings by J.R.R. Tolkien, and it is a short poem, and I'm going to share it with you. It goes as follows: "All that is gold does not glitter. Not all those who wander are lost. The old that is strong does not wither. Deep roots are not reached by the frost. From the ashes a fire shall be woken. A light from the shadows shall spring. Renewed shall be blade that was broken. The crownless again shall be king." So this is kind of a prophecy telling you a little bit about what is expected to happen in the conclusion of the trilogy. So I won't spoil it for you, but it really is foreshadowing what is to come. And I know this because I have read articles and I watched videos and just read a lot up on this particular topic. So I know that Tolkien has repeatedly said that there is no allegory whatsoever within The Lord of the Rings, but I cannot help but see such strong Christian themes within the world of Middle-earth and within the story of The Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit. I just cannot help but see, Jesus's influences on Tolkien's writing and just the influence of Christianity. I just cannot help but see it. And this line in particular, "Deep roots are not reached by the frost," that just connects with me, because when I picture these deep roots, I picture them in Christ. So what it means to me is that these deep roots are in Christ, so the frost or worldly troubles can't really get at you because your roots are in Christ and not in the world. So that's just what I think of when I hear that quote. The next quote is actually by Toni Morrison, and it's about writing. And I always think about this whenever I'm either getting discouraged in what I want to write, or I use it as motivation when it comes to writing. And the quote is, "If there's a book that you want to read, but it hasn't been written yet, then you must write it." That is so encouraging to me, because I think about my favorite books and how I wish, how this book could be mashed up with this book, because if you were to mix up this book, and this book, it would be like the perfect book. And I always think of this quote by Toni Morrison, and it's just motivating to me that I should write that story instead of hoping somebody else will. That makes sense. And the next quote that I was going to share with you, here we go. This one's a little bit longer. It's from A Man Called Ove by FREDRIKSACKMAN. One of my absolute favorite books of last year, probably one of my favorite books of all time. If you haven't read it, I highly recommend it. And the quote goes like this. It's more of a paragraph, so please bear with me. "To love someone is like moving into a house," Sonia used to say. At first you fall in love with everything new. You wonder every morning that this is one's own, as if they are afraid that someone will suddenly come tumbling through the door and say that there has been a serious mistake and that it simply was not meant to would live so fine. Sorry, I think that's a typo. But as the years go by, the facade worn, the cracks here and there, and you start to love this house, not so much for all the ways it is perfect, but that for all the ways it is not. You become familiar with all of its nooks and crannies, how to avoid that the key gets stuck in the lock if it is cold outside, which floorboards have some give when you step on them, and exactly how to open the doors for them not to creak. That's it. All the secrets that make it your home. So I think that particular quote that I liked on Goodreads had some typos in it, so I hope you were able to understand it clearly. But Sonia, who is Uva's wife in the novel, she was describing how love, at first, you look at it through these new eyes and how everything is perfect and you just see it in that way. But as you get older and as you grow in your love, you begin to see all the little imperfections as being just as perfect as the perfections, if that makes sense. So you begin to notice like all of the little things about each other, and all of those little imperfections add up to mean more than the perfections. Does that make sense at all? I just really like how she describes her love for her husband. Okay, and then the last one, I really just like the way that this sounds, and it reminds me of my childhood. It's from The Book of Lost Things by John Connolly. And David, who is a young boy, he's the main character in this book, his mother loved to read him stories. And this is a quote that she would tell him. "Stories wanted to be read," David's mother would whisper. "They needed it. It was the reason they forced themselves from their world into ours. They wanted us to give them life." So I absolutely love the imagery there and the personification of books and how they want to be read, and how I just picture myself looking at a shelf of books and I can just picture them calling out to me, wanting to be read. And it kind of reminds me of that movie, The Page Master. Please let me know if you're familiar with that movie, because I absolutely loved it as a kid, and it helped spark a love of reading for me. But but the books come alive and they want you to take them home from the library. They want you to check them out and read them, and that's just what that reminds me of. So this video got to be a little bit long. I hope you enjoyed it though, and I will tag a few people down below as soon as I figure out who has done this tag and who hasn't, because it really made the rounds on BookTube a few months ago and I'm kind of behind the times. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys very soon with another bookish video very soon. Bye.